Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. We're back in the frozen tundra. It got down to 19 degrees last night. 19 is cold. That's Fahrenheit degrees, of course. And had to go cut a bunch more firewood over the weekend. I'll be showing you a little video on that in a moment. What about them Chiefs, man? Weren't they great? Oh my gosh, they didn't even show up to the game. You know, in the first half of that game, now keep in mind, I'm not a huge football fan, but, you know, the Chiefs were doing so good. You know, we've been kind of watching their games lately, you know, and then we watched, of course, the Super Bowl. Well, they didn't even look like the same team in the Super Bowl that they've been showing. I mean, they won like 15 regular season games this year. And I honestly thought it looked like they were paid off. I mean, seriously, in the first half of the game, even the few little minor progresses they made, in other words, you know, like a first down or whatever, every single thing that they did that was positive got canceled because of some foul or some, you know, there was always a flag thrown or whatever. It just was unbelievable. I was floored, just completely floored. So I didn't even really want to watch the second half. And of course, in the second half, they didn't do much better. And the only reason they scored in the second half is because I think the Eagles took pity on them, and the Eagles knew they were so far ahead they weren't going to lose anyway, so they didn't really try as hard, you know. Oh my gosh, it was pitiful. Just pitiful. Absolutely the worst game I could have imagined. I just didn't even expect them to go like that at all. I expected it to be a relatively tight game, you know, and not at all. Not at all. Crazy. Well, I guess you probably saw Itchy Boots made it out into the desert. Man, that is some desert country. Just think about that. I mean, all the tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of sand out there. Just forever. It goes on forever. Man, I can't imagine. I would say that's the one resource that humankind will never run out of is sand. Unbelievable. And I don't know. It just doesn't look like a place that I need to go visit. I'm glad she's doing it so I can see it and don't have to actually go there myself. Well, on some sad news, Friday evening I got the word that Beverly's mother passed away. Beverly, of course, is one of the band members. And, you know, typically Beverly's either playing guitar or bass or dobro. And in case you're trying to figure out who she is. Well, anyway, she let us know that her mother did pass away Friday evening, and she asked me to be an honorary pallbearer. So I assume that's someone who just walks along with the procession, and I guess that's what I'll do. So I don't know what day the arrangements will be made on that. So most likely one day this week, I would imagine, and most likely it'll be during midday, and most likely we won't have a vlog that day. So I'm just preparing you ahead of time. In other news, Kawasaki, you know, you heard my woes with that. Well, I got the Kawasaki in the shop on Friday and jumped in there to check it out myself, figure out why it wouldn't start again. You know, after paying it was about $80 to have Kawasaki, the dealer, you know, work on it. And all they did was, quote unquote, put in a new spark plug. Well, when I took the plug out of it, it did not look like a new plug to me. Now, I'm not talking about the inside part that turns black. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the outside of the plug, the porcelain part. It had dirt down in between the porcelain and the metal. The metal wasn't real brand new shiny. it did not look like a new plug. So I think they lied to me. I really do believe they lied to me. I do not think they put in a new plug. I think they may have cleaned the electrode on the old plug, put it back in there, and charged me $80. That's what I think they did. In addition to that, well, so then I tested it for spark, and definitely the plug that was in there was not getting any spark. So I drove to town. I bought a couple of spark plugs just so I'd have an extra spare. And then I also did a comparison of the spark plugs in my hand, and I'm pretty sure they did not put a new plug in it because it didn't look anything like the new plug to me. So, and they were identical brand, and everything was identical about it. So I put the new plug in, started right up, just instantly started right up. And so then this morning, there's kind of two parts to this morning. First of all, I was working on the Polaris Ranger, the other 4x4. The lift on the bed, I had built that years ago myself on the Ranger and put an electric. I knew the name of it until it's kind of like a hydraulic cylinder, but it's an electric cylinder, and I can't think of the name of that right now. I thought of it earlier, but I can't think of it right now. Well, anyway, that thing went out and it wasn't working. Well, I spent 2.5 hours working on getting that thing loose out of there this morning. It's just unbelievable. And nothing went right this morning. So about the time where I was about ready to give up, Sue walks in, and I tell her how bad it's going and how, not. Also, if you look here, do you see the two black marks? Those are blood blisters. So that'll give you some idea it was not going well. And so Sue decides to add to my fun and explain that she started the Kawasaki this morning and it ran away with her. It like the throttle stuck wide open and it took off, and she barely was able to get it out of gear in time before she hit something. So then after that, I started it up, and it starts okay, and it wasn't running fast like that on me, but it's running really bad. It's just sputtering and just. Now, I told the dealer that the throttle would stick on it also, and of course they didn't fix that either. So that's why I say it doesn't do, I don't know about you, but it does not do me personally any good at all. Zero, none, not any, to take anything anywhere. And that's the truth. Everything I've ever taken anywhere, I've ended up doing it myself afterwards. Anything I've hired out to be done, I've ended up doing it over. That's just me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't see how you all get through with stuff like that and able to afford and pay for stuff and have it done. That does not work for me. It just never has. About the only thing that ever has worked for me on that, there's been two things. One of them was the gutters work that was done on this house. Well, actually, there's three. I had them do a roof. They did a pretty good job on that, although it is leaking now, and that's only been 15 years. The other thing I had done was the furnace work. We found a real good furnace guy here in the area, and he's a really nice guy, and he really does do a good job. Now, he charges big bucks. I don't know. He seems to charge a pretty good penny, but his work works. He does a good job. Anything else and everything else that I've ever paid for around here, just wasting your money. That's how I feel about it anyway. Well, here's the Firewood video. Well, I'm down here on the corner of JR's property, the county road and all that. And he wanted all these trees cleared out. And he's been working on it over a year or two. And I decided I might as well come down here and cut firewood and try to help that cause out. You can see I've got a lot more cut. At least I think you can see it. There's a whole bunch more cut here. And like that tree's cut over there and all this. So this is at least another trailer load, plus what I have right here.
So I'll take this up and dump it, and then I'll go bring the trailer back down and load it up too. So here we go. Well, there's what the trailer load of wood looks like. It's pretty full, as you can see. Pretty heavy load too. It's got it set down pretty close to the tires there. This is what's left of the first Ranger load. That's a pretty good size load for the Ranger, you know. But it would take about 3 of them or maybe 4 of them to fill up the trailer. So the temperature is 158. It's flashing in the camera, but in real life it's perfectly still at 158. And here's what she looks like. Pretty well full. And she's getting hot. She's got to get back up to 185. It was down to 140 this morning because I was out of wood. But that's okay. 140 still heats the house. It's just not the most efficient for, you know, the water and the overall heating. Anyway, we're going to dump this, and all I have to do is lift up a little tiny switch here. Just this little switch. And if you haven't seen this before, I built the dump trailer years ago. And of all the things I've built, I would have to say this probably has provided as much benefit as anything, maybe more. Because you can see how easy that is compared to unloading it by hand. Now all I have to do is pull forward a little bit and it'll all fall out right here by the stove. No point in stacking it. There's no reason to stack it. That would be a futile, wasted effort, because it's burnt in just a few days. It's gone. So let's see, we have to take it out of high range here, and then we give it a little bit of fuel and hit the starter. Starts right up. Now we'll pull forward. And you can see that dumped quite a load there. That's quite a bit of wood there. And all we have to do now is push the button the other way. Push down and it goes down. It goes down really slow. So you have to hold it. Have to hold it until the bed comes all the way down. They probably make a switch that's always off one way and a detent the other way. That would be nice if I had that. So it's just about down. It's nice and slow, that's for sure. But that also tells you that the hydraulics are working really well. Well, that's it. I'm gonna go put the tractor away.
As usual. And I was actually hoping to get done with the Ranger this morning quick enough that I was going to go out and start cutting some more cedar already this morning. But like I said, not one thing went right. I'm talking even down to the tiniest detail. Let me just give you one example, and this is a true 100% example. Like, you know what a cotter pin is? Well, you know, there's those slightly bigger pins that have a big loop on the top, and then they're like little teeth almost on one side. The other side is straight. Well, I slid one of those pins in the straight side down through a hole this morning. And then because it didn't work properly the way just like everything that went wrong, so I got that pin in there. And I did that by hand. I just slid it in by hand. And it took me probably close to 45 minutes to get that pin back out. And I'm not lying. I was using a pry bar, vice grips, pliers, just to pull the stupid pin out. Yeah, it's just because it could. That's the only reason. I can't come up with a reason why stuff like that happens. Unbelievable. unbelievable. It was the worst mechanical morning I believe I ever had in my whole life. It was just unbelievable. Like I said, I got these blood blisters on my hands from just doing stuff, trying to get stuff undone this morning. Just pathetic. I almost called off the vlog. That's how upset I was. I was like, this is just not going well. This vlog will probably fall apart, you know. So far, so good. David Tharp Eddie Turner was actually the first one in there, but David Tharp's got the first question marks. He says, howdy, Jerry and Chatsters. I'm 76, but I'm not over the hill. I'm too old and too tired to climb it. Yeah, well, I kind of feel that way this morning, especially after what happened, that's for sure. David Tharp, never let people limit your possibilities. Just consider Beethoven. People told him that he couldn't be a musician. Beethoven was so deaf, he thought he was painting anyway. Oh my gosh. You are messed up, dude. You are just messed up. Wavy gravy. We live in a day and in an age where everyone is making competitive salary. Their income is competing with their bills. Ain't it the truth? Boy, that is the truth. Yeah. We generally just have just enough to make ends meet. That's pretty much the way it has been my whole life, really. Let's see. Just in case there's new people, if you put question marks in front of your comment, I'll read them. If I don't see the question marks, I typically don't read them, just so you know. Gino Hitch. Hi, Jerry and everyone. Still cold in Monroe, Ohio. Did you find more cedars to make your shingles? Well, no, I didn't, but I actually had plans to go do that this morning. Honestly, the job I was trying to do, if anything would have just gone right, it probably would have taken me 30 minutes to maybe an hour on the outside. But not one thing went right, and I mean like nothing. Like, it's hard to explain how bad. I could go on for 2.5 hours and tell you how many things went wrong. It's unbelievable how many things went wrong. It's just unbelievable. I couldn't get the metal lathe to work. I mean, nothing worked today. Nothing. Just everything that usually just normally works wouldn't work today. I don't know why. Just wouldn't. James Copy, reading Horse Whisperer, planning to get a Jenny to protect my animals. Okay. I probably shouldn't say it, but because they'll probably put a video out about it. Actually, I think he said he already did put a video out on his Patreon. I'm talking about my son JR on his little I don't know what you call that thing, donkey, you know. Anyway, it's fallen in love with Isaac, and anytime it sees Isaac outside, it starts braying, you know. And if Isaac hollers up at him, and I forget his name now, doggone it. You know me and names, I can't remember them. Well, anyway, he'll holler the name of that little thing, and he'll just start going, ee-yaw, ee-yaw. It's pretty cute. It really is pretty cute. I think he put the little video out on his Patreon. Let's see. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie, especially for this morning. And she says she's praying for my hands. Thank you. Maybe that'll heal. Oh, my gosh. Just a mess. Just a mess. And not only that, and then, you know, I don't mean to keep beating this to death, but I was straining so hard on pulling on trying to get something at one moment. I don't even remember what that was at that moment. But I'm not kidding you. I either pulled muscles on both sides of my back right where my kidneys are, or I somehow strained my kidneys. I don't know which. But it felt like the kidneys started hurting on both sides. And so I had to kind of take it easy after that, and they're still kind of hurting. So I don't know if it's the muscles or my kidneys. Typically, you don't seem like you would hurt your kidneys by straining like that, but man, I'm telling you, I was straining. Just ain't easy being me. Someday you will believe me. If I say it enough, maybe you'll believe me. Let's see. Dowdy says, I won't be here tomorrow. Have to go to the dentist. Well, good luck with that. And we'll write you a hall pass so you can go. Let's see. She's asked me, have I ever heard of the Gibson brothers? Yeah, I have. I'll be honest and say I've never followed them very closely, but I've heard several of their tunes, and they're very good. They're very good. In fact, they're real good. I don't know. They kind of came in after I was really into it a lot, and I just never did get into them. I don't listen to a lot of music, truthfully, and that's just the truth of it. I don't listen to much music. Not very much at all, like you might think. After we went live, David Tharp was in there first. He says, pro cooking tip. If you mix a little coconut oil with your kale after you stir fry it in butter, it's easier to scrape it into the trash. Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with that, because the only place kale's going for me is on the compost pile, and I can tell you that for a black and white 100% fact. In fact, any green vegetable, that's the only place it's going for me, is in the compost pile. It helps my potatoes grow good, and that's all it's worth to me. And if you are new, I am a taster. It's been tested, certified 100%. It's not one of these things that I think I'm a taster. It's been proven. And I don't eat a single green vegetable at all. Zero, none, not any, not a pea, not a green bean, not a piece of lettuce, not a pickle, nothing. So there you go. Daddy says, I watched the Super Bowl for the commercials. Yeah, and most of those weren't very good, in my opinion. What really bothers me about those darn commercials, and most of them were that way, and they weren't all that way, but most of them, you can't tell what product they're promoting till the very last 3 seconds they put their logo up there, and that's it. It's like, they're paying $8 million for that spot, and you'd think they'd want their name out in front of there a little bit where you could see what they're selling. God, I guess they got more money than they got brains, if you ask me. Kim Williford, I rooted for the Eagles. I thought it was a great game. Well, I guess you would. Because no fights broke out, no drama, and very little bad calls. The referees did a fantastic job. Yeah, I can't really fault the referees or anything. It just seemed to me like the Kansas City didn't even come to the game. That's what it seemed like to me. Ronald Todd, hearts and prayers. Oh, it's moving on me. Hearts and prayers go out to Beverly and her family. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's sad. It's always sad. Now, I don't really know Beverly that well in terms of her family and all that, but I don't think she has much family left. I think she's pretty much on her own now. I mean, I think she's got an uncle or something, stuff like that, but that's about it. Kim Williford, my condolences. Yep, thank you. Yeah, prayers, thanks. Dottie Hillebrand, dump. Okay. Not sure what that was about. I probably forgot by now. Let's see, Brad Bertram, how about a video of you and Sue going on a trail ride? You could sing back in the saddle again. Oh, I don't know. I don't get much enjoyment out of riding horses at all, really. Sue does. And my daughters do. They come down and ride, and Sue's got a couple girlfriends they ride with and stuff. And then occasionally she rides with Becca and Mary and, and JR and stuff. But I just don't know. I just don't get into it. Ronald Todd, I once got my oil changed at a Walmart, and they never replaced the filter. Went back, got the manager, and then had to have him do it again. Yeah. I just don't have any good luck with stuff. It's just, I don't know. it's just, I don't know. Just don't. It's not, I don't think it's in my head that it's that way. I'm pretty sure it's black and white that way. You know, just like this thing with the Kawasaki, $80. And I don't even think they changed the spark plug. I don't think they did anything, honestly. Well, they did do one thing. I know they did do one thing. They cleaned the engine off. The top of the engine, they cleaned that off because I said, it seems to be leaking a lot of oil around the top of that head. Well, they did clean that off. That's about it. And they said, well, you need some O-rings. We don't have them. $80. I don't think they did anything except clean the head off. Eddie D, Jerry, what a shame you can't get any service for your money. Boy, that's the truth. You would have better luck to throw your money out a window on a windy day and then go outside and see if you can find it. You got that right. It's 100% the way I feel about it. It just, like I said, I found like 3 different people around here that over the 25 years, it's pretty sad when you can name all 3 of them, and that's it. One guy that did the gutters, one guy that did the roof, and he did some remodeling for me too. He was pretty good. And then the furnace guy, and that's it. Nobody else. And we've hired a few things done, and they just aren't worth paying for. Like the horse trailer, I paid $3,000 to have that horse trailer, and I told the guy, I said, well, I'm not. He was wanting me to bring it. I said, well, I was going to take out a few more dents and clean up a little more rust and stuff. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. I'll do that. He didn't do. Not only did he not do that, he painted it with what it looked to me like he used house paint. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's what it looked like. It didn't look like an enamel finish at all. It looked like it was painted with latex house paint. That's what it looked like. That bad. It was pathetic. And so I called him up and explained to him what kind of human he was. He never did cash my check as far as I know. Well, he never did because I didn't lose my $3,000 in that case. But I did have to repaint the horse trailer again. I had to sand it down and repaint it from scratch. So it was more work than had I not ever had him involved. Let's see. Well, can't hear most of the vlog, so tapping out. Y'all take care. He can't hear. Well, it's quite loud on this end. According to all the signals here, it shows that the volume's coming out. I tell you. Kim Williford says Thomas. Oh, yeah, that's the little donkey's name. You're right. Yeah, Isaac goes out and he'll say Thomas, and then the Thomas starts going, Scott Roberts. Yeah, guys, the streaming has been stalling out like that Kawasaki. So there, Jerry, now everything has been messed up. Really? See, I knew that. I'm not lying to you when I almost put out a little note that says, sorry, no vlog today. Because I knew it wasn't going to go good. I knew something would go wrong. Chipwood, howdy, Jerry and all. Are you planning to do any follow-up reviews on your lawn tools after 5 or 6 months use or sooner? On those Wild Badger tools, is that what you're talking about? We could, I guess. They're all doing real well. Sue likes them. We like them real well. I use the gas-powered blower on my sawmill down there. I blow the sawdust off with that. But I can tell you, we do like them all. They're all good. And I'm not trying to compare them to other things. Are they better than other things that cost the same amount? I don't know. I don't have the other things to compare with. I'm just saying they seem really good. for what I think they cost. They don't, they don't seem to be that expensive, and they're pretty good. Let's see. The Vaping Builder. Sorry, did know about question marks. But hi, Jerry, from across the pond. Well, I'm glad you're here. Scott Roberts. Love the Gibson Brothers, especially how they play Beautiful Brown Eyes in 4/4 time. Always heard it as a waltz. I'll be darned. I can't remember. They had 2 or 3 hits that I've heard that are really good, but you know me and remembering stuff like that, I can't remember what they were right now. I'd know them if I heard them. Wavy Gravy. At the job interview, I asked, what is the salary like? They said I'd start at a minimum wage and make double of that in 2 years. I said, okay, I'll be back in 2 years. Well, there's the way you get around that. Kim Williford, how about onions? The Budweiser commercials are cute with the Clydesdale horses. Yeah, the Budweiser commercial was good. Most of the commercials, though, left me wanting more, really. I mean, most of them I didn't care for at all. That's just, maybe I'm just getting old and grumpy. I don't know. I just didn't think they were that good. A couple of them were okay. How about onions, you say? Well, Kim, you've probably heard me tell this story. I know some of the people have heard me tell this before, but onions are like the worst for me. Well, I don't know. Believe it or not, lettuce is about as bad as it gets. But onions are horrible. I mean, they're just horrible. They're vile. They're just terrible. I don't see how people eat them. I truly don't. I'm not saying that to sound silly, dramatic, or stupid. I don't see how you eat them. I truly don't. I don't see how it's possible to eat the things. If you could taste them like I taste them, you would understand. It just, one time, well, it's happened many times actually, but one specific time, like whenever I order a McDonald's burger, obviously I have to have them plain, Now back in the old days, that was just a kiss of death. They would make you stand in an off line and make you wait like 3 times longer than anybody else. They don't do that so much today, but I still inspect them very closely because they'll have one little piece of onion on them. And you might say, oh, what's the big deal? One little piece of onion. Well, let me explain to you what happened one time. Now, this only happened once, even though I've accidentally ingested onions multiple times. But it only happened one time. And the one time was I got this piece of onion down and it tasted so bad. Just a little piece. I'm sure it was tiny. And it just stayed. The taste just kept staying in me and it was killing me. It was driving me crazy. And, I think I ate the sandwich probably at noon or something. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night because of the taste of that onion. It was still waking me up, and it was that bad. And it was just a tiny little piece. I truly don't see how anybody can eat the things. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me at all. But then again, you don't taste stuff like I taste it. It's just different. According to the research I've done on being a taster, I don't know the exact numbers, even though the article did say the exact numbers. I'm just making these numbers up. But I'll have 10,000 taste buds where you have 1,000 taste buds. It's like I got way more taste buds than your average person. And so that's why I always say I don't eat anything unless it's totally bland. And that's pretty much the truth. Let's see. David Thorpe. The therapist said, write a letter to all the ones that trouble you, then burn them. I did that, but now I'm wondering what to do with all these letters. Let's see, right? The therapist said, write a letter to all the ones that trouble you, then burn them. So I guess you burned the ones that troubled you, huh? Okay. Yeah. Sidecar Bob, if they told me they didn't have the O-rings, I'd have told them they'd better get them and fast, and I'd have called the distributor to tell them about the way you were treated. Yeah, well, I don't know what to do about the way I was treated. I was going to call them this morning, but as bad as everything has gone this morning, I knew I would lose my cool. I would just go into a rage. So I don't know if I should call them today or not, but because I don't think I think they lied. I do not think they replaced the spark plug. See, again, you got to remember you're dealing with a guy who grew up in a lawn service. Now, if there's anything you know about in a lawn service and working on small engines, it's a spark plug. I mean, hundreds of them. And as soon as I pulled that plug out, I went, they didn't replace this plug. You know, I mean, it was obvious to me. Let's see. Ring the Bell. Yeah, that's a really good one by the Gibson Brothers. That's a really good one. There's another one, too, about walking or something. I'm trying to think of the words. Walking to a town or something like that. I don't know. I can't think of it right now. Dottie says her son hates onions and pickles. Well, I don't just hate onions and pickles. It's pretty much especially anything that's green, and pretty much any vegetable for the most part. I don't eat any vegetables, really. I only eat corn, potatoes, and rice. And if you look at it up, if those are plain, which that's the only way I'll eat them, is if they're plain, those are just starches. They're not, a lot of people don't even call those things vegetables, but they are, but they're just different. It's a good thing because that's the only kind of plants I can eat. I do like bread, I do like cereals for the most part. Ronald Todd, pre-game and halftime entertainment I thought was the worst I've ever seen. Yeah, the halftime show, at the risk of sounding like a racist or something, it was pitiful. It's just pitiful. It was horrible, I thought. I thought, are you kidding me? This is, whatever. For the biggest game, the biggest sporting event of the year, that's the halftime show. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. I guess if you like him, he was great. I just didn't care for him. I don't know. Let's see. Wavy Gravy. When my neighbor's doctor was out of the room, he looked at what was written in his record. It said, no evidence of mental illness. In fact, no evidence of any mental activity at all. That would be my report, I guarantee you. Scott Roberts, and we found the shovel. Good thing because it's getting a little deep in here. Okay. Walking to Memphis. Okay, is that what it's called? Yeah, that's another really good song. They have several really good songs. Like I said, just being honest, I didn't follow them. I don't really have any of their music or anything, but I've heard several things, and what I've heard has been very good. Scott Roberts, make one thing go right today. Hit that thumbs up button for Jerry. Yeah, that would help a lot. Could y'all just hit it, please? Ronald Todd, my middle name is Eugene. The man works for me when I was upset. Said they didn't like Eugene. Ron's okay. Okay. Kim Williford, I turned the sound down during the halftime show. I hate music of today. I just hate it. Yeah, it was just really not very good. I didn't think. And even the dancing stuff out there, it just, I don't know, just didn't seem like much to me. I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I think it's maybe I'm just showing my age, getting old and cranky, I guess. It just didn't look good to me. Bill Mumbo, Jerry, the biggest sporting event in the is the Turkey Bowl. Yeah, our Turkey Bowl was pretty good. Wavy Gravy, Pete Fountain and Al Hurt played the Super Bowl halftime show in 1974. Now that was some great entertainment. Yeah, I think anybody that really just, well, I don't know, that can play and sing would have beat what was there last night, because I don't think that was playing and singing. Theron Corbett, Jerry, you need to jump on the carnivore diet bandwagon. Well, I've been on that my whole life. That's all I eat. You know, like JR got on the subject last night somehow, and Sue and talking about red meat, and I said, well, that's all I eat is red meat. And Sue's going, well, I don't cook it that often. I'm going, well, we just had a steak the other night. I said, for lunch, I'll always eat some sort of either a burger or, you know, a hot dog or a sausage or something. I said, that's red meat. She's going, oh. She wasn't thinking. She's just thinking like the steak is the red meat, you know. Pretty much anything that I eat is. In fact, you could just black and white say that everything I eat. I'm trying to think of that. I'm not trying to lie here. I'm trying to be truthful. I can't think of anything I eat. This is a better way to say it, I guess. I can't think of one thing that I eat that the average person would say is good for you. At least by today's standards. I don't think anything I eat is good for you. But it's a good thing I eat it because it keeps me going. Let's see. Scott Roberts, Bill Mumbo, maybe they should have called it the toilet bowl. Yeah. Well, the way they played last night, for sure, the Chiefs, the way they played, it was definitely the toilet bowl. Kim Williford, it isn't age, it's the era. 60s, 80s was the best. There's been an awful murder down on Music and Dance Row. Yeah, boy, that's for sure. It really is. It's just pathetic. And, you know, I hate to even go any further than that because then it starts to sound political. But, you know, like all this stuff where the women have been in, I mean, the men have been in the women's sports, the men have been in the women's locker rooms, and, you know, and on and on and on. And they've set new Olympic records, the men in the women's sports. And, you know, one of them, you know, in a boxing match or something, beat some woman up really bad. And, you know, and then like in the weightlifting, some guy dressed as a woman, you know, set the new record by over 400 pounds and stupid stuff like that. And that's the crap I can't deal with. I'm seriously telling you, had that happened to me or mine, I'd be in jail. That you can just count, you can mark that down. I'd be in jail, trust me. If, like when I went to when my granddaughters were in the basketball and I was going to all their games, had something like that occurred, God is my witness. I swear to you, my hand on a Bible, I'd be in jail. And that's just, you can just mark that one down because that's a black and white. Yeah, David Thorpe says, let's be honest, that noise ain't music. Scott Roberts, David Thorpe, nope, yep. I agree. Again, it just, I don't know. I'm really fairly flexible on my music. I really am. But it needs to be music. It's like I got off on that Sarah Sculpture problem. You know, I told you that he just stuck those big rusty steel things in the ground, and they paid him $250,000 for it. And any little 5-year-old kid could have done better. Any 5-year-old kid could have done better. And they wouldn't have got $250,000. And that's the way I think about the music. It either is or it isn't. You know, it is, to me, what I saw, there wasn't much music going on there. Bronco 4x4, 84 Bronco 4x4 says, I did a successful neck reset on a cheap mandolin I had lying around after watching several of your videos. Plays better now than when it was new. Thanks. Well, you're sure welcome, and thanks for acknowledging. And thanks for watching the videos. Ronald Todd, DEI and woke. Yeah, all that stuff is just crap. And so, again, at the risk of sounding political, when Trump, did his executive order to wipe that stuff out, I got to be honest, that was probably my favorite thing he did. I was standing up cheering on that one. I mean, how stupid have we become to just say that's normal and that's okay? We've lost our cotton picking minds. I mean, just, bleh. I'm telling you, I promise you I'd be in jail. Wavy gravy. Sadly, some people actually have no idea what good music really is. They never really heard anything. Yep. I agree with you. Chipwood, don't watch football anymore since I did a victory celebration for doing the job I got paid for and the foreman fired me. Ronald Todd, Trump signed the bill last week that is not allowed. Yeah, anyway, right. That's what I'm talking about. That's the one thing he did for sure that I completely 100% am 100% behind. I just think that was the dumbest thing we've ever done in this country, just to allow stuff like that to happen. Gary Hayes. Now, that's also, I just want to be clear. It's got nothing to do with hating gays or lesbians or anything like that. In fact, I had a really good friend at Bell. In fact, I had a couple of them that were gay. And they were good friends. And they're still good friends. I don't have a problem with that. That's their business. What they do is their dang business. It's just like, just like the politics, in my opinion. You can disagree and have different politics. I can have different politics, and we can still be friends. It's got nothing to do with anything like that. It's got to do with common sense and decency, and that's what it's got to do with. And when you start putting men in women's sports, it isn't fair. It's just not right. It's not the right thing to do. And then to take it further and let them go in the locker rooms and all that stuff, I'll kiss my you-know-what. Just flat kiss it, because it ain't going to happen under this guy's watch right here. Not to mine. Not to me and mine, is what I'm saying. I know what happens in the world, but it's not going to happen to me and mine. Gary Hayes, West Virginia Hillbilly Jerry Donkey. Name is Thomas. Yep, that's Kim said that earlier. Yeah, Dottie says no moral compass these days, that's for sure. 10 transgender athletes nationwide, don't crap your pants. Yeah, right. Well, if you believe that, then I'm sorry, but you're a little bit on the naive side. Wavy gravy. My neighbor almost got in trouble for claiming he had a degree from MIT on his resume. He did, but in his case, it was from Maynard's Institute of Taxidermy. Ronald Todd. Ronald is a different person than Ronald Todd. I'm just getting more and more confused with you, Ronald. I got to be honest. I'm getting more and more confused. You're talking about the name Ronald and Ronald Todd are two different people. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I see that all the time, and I did kind of wonder that, but I can see that, especially today, there's two different comments there. Let's see. Kim Williford, I'm with you, Jerry. Common sense is the best. Zappa. I grew up listening to old 78 RPM records and my mother's 20s, 30s, 40s music on the radio. I learned the real music. Yeah, it's, you know, I can listen to a little bit of almost anything, even a little bit of rap. I mean, I can handle a little bit of it. I like classical a little bit. I don't love classical. I don't want to listen to it 24/7, but I can listen to it. I can listen to just about anything. I can't listen to crazy hard punk rock stuff that heavy metal junk. There's just way too far out. When you take it to extremes, you're an extremist. That's the way I look at it. Somewhere in the middle, I can deal with it. Y'all have a great day. We will see you tomorrow, unless it turns out that I'm in a funeral tomorrow. And if that would happen, I'll try to put some sort of a note out there that you can see, that you'll see that we're not going to be doing it. But anyway, y'all take care. We'll be back tomorrow with something else, and hopefully it'll be going a little better tomorrow. Maybe I'll be in a little better mood. We'll see you then.